Hey there and welcome. It's Shari Kensley, your body positive community yoga teacher, and this practice is all about surrender. So put on something comfortable and let's get started. Begin to make your way onto your back and come in a comfortable position. And depending how that low back is feeling, that might mean that the knees are bent and the soles of the feet are on the floor. It might mean that those legs can come out long. Find a position that allows you to be completely comfortable. Now let's release those hands down alongside the body. Beautiful. If you have those legs long, allow the toes to fall out to the sides. Just start to allow the body to settle into the mat. If you have the knees bent and the soles of the feet on the floor, you can also walk your feet wide out to the edges of your mat and then drop your knees in towards one another so that they can comfortably rest. Wherever you decide to be, softly tuck the chin, allowing the back of the neck to lengthen. And then let's start to relax all of the muscles of the face. Relaxing through the jaw and the tongue. Relaxing through the forehead and the eyes. Feel those shoulders soften. Allow the back of the body to begin to melt down into the mat. Start to drop into the breath. Allow the breath to be natural and easy. Perhaps noticing that as we bring our full attention to our inhales and exhales, they naturally and organically begin to deepen and lengthen. We continue to allow the body to soften, allowing those muscles to simply melt off the bone. A few more rounds of breath here. Imagine the body softly floating, gently drifting, completely relaxed. Beautiful. Taking one more full round of breath. If you have those knees bent, begin to lengthen out through those legs. On our inhale, we'll take the arms up and overhead, reaching through those fingertips, reaching through those toes, finding a long stretch down the center of your mat. And from here, we'll begin to make our way into our banana stretch. Walk both feet over to the bottom right corner of your mat. Walk both hands over to the top right corner of your mat. You can pick those shoulders up slightly to move the upper body, and then relax the shoulders down. The entire back body is flat and flush with the earth, and we have a long, gentle stretch all along the left side of the body, coming into a banana shape or a crescent moon shape with the body. And we'll take this long passive stretch here for a few rounds of breath. You can also cross the right ankle over the left and hook the thumbs if that's more comfortable. Breathing here, lengthening through the left side of the body. A few more rounds of breath. Shoulders are relaxed. Soften into the pose. One more breath here. If you have those ankles crossed, begin to uncross and unhook the thumbs. Walk both hands back to the center of your mat. Walk both feet back to the center of your mat. Reset the body. And then let's walk both feet over to the bottom left corner of the mat. And both hands over to the top left corner of the mat. Shoulders relaxing down. Back body flush with the earth. Finding that long stretch on the right side of the body this time. And if it's comfortable, crossing the left ankle over the right and perhaps hooking the thumbs. Drop into the breath. Relax the eyes. Melting into the pose. Allowing the gentle opening of the right side of the body. A few more breaths here. Beautiful. Let's take one more full round of breath here. And beginning to uncross the ankles and unhook the thumbs. Walking those hands back to the center of the mat. Walking those feet back to the center of the mat. Let's take an inhale, reach through fingertips and toes, long stretch. Exhale, begin to gather the knees into the chest and give them a nice big squeeze. In our knees to chest pose, allow the low back to begin to release down to the mat. Two more breaths here, chin slightly tucked, shoulders soft. On that next exhale, softly release and go ahead, take those legs out long on the mat. And from here, begin to bend into your right knee and bring the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Allow that right knee to softly open to the right, coming into supine tree pose. Rest those hands on the belly, drawing your attention to this core part of the body where our sense of self resides. Allowing a gentle opening in the hips in this pose. We'll take a few rounds of breath here, noticing the gentle rise of the belly on the inhale and the gentle fall of the belly on the exhale. Relax the eyes behind the eyelids. Everything in the body is soft and relaxed. few more breaths here on this side. Enjoying the passive version of this pose. Beautiful. Let's take one more full round of breath here. Reach the right hand down to the outside of the thigh. Gently guide the knee back up as you walk the sole of the foot out. Perfect. Bend into the opposite knee. Bring the soles of both feet to the mat, and then very softly windshield wiper those knees from side to side, flexing the ankles as we do to protect the knees. Coming back to center, let's begin to lengthen through those legs so we can make our way to the other side. Begin to bend into that left knee, bringing the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Place those hands comfortably on the belly, drawing your attention back to the breath. Allowing the gentle opening of the left hip. Staying present with the breath, fully aware of the inhale, fully aware of the exhale. Noticing the hip gently opening, grateful for the space and expansion it creates in the body, echoing the opportunity to create space and expansion in our lives. A few more rounds of breath here. Taking a scan of the body, noticing where you might be holding tension or gripping. Take an inhale, and on your next exhale, release that area. A few more rounds of breath here. Beautiful. Let's take one more full round of breath in our reclined tree pose. And bringing the left hand to the outside of the left thigh, softly bring that knee up towards the center line of the body, walking the sole of the foot out. Let's bend into the opposite knee, bringing the soles of both feet to the mat, hips width apart. Releasing those hands down alongside you as you windshield wiper those knees from side to side. Beautiful. Inhale, bring those knees back up to center. And exhale, squeeze both knees into the chest, releasing the hip flexors. From here, we'll extend both arms wide out to the sides in a T shape, perhaps rotating those palms up and releasing the shoulders down the back. Inhaling here and exhaling to release both knees over to one side. Simply release them over to whichever side is calling to you. Wherever you are, melt the shoulders down onto the mat. Your gaze can be neutral, up to the sky, or turned the opposite direction of the knees to complete the spinal twist. On your exhale, completely release into the posture. Allow the body to soften. We'll take a few more rounds of breath here. Let's take one more full round of breath here. On your next inhale, bringing those knees up to center and exhaling them over to the other side. Take your time, going slow. Allow the body to acclimate. Surrendering into the breath. We'll take a few more rounds of breath here. Melt completely into the pose. On your next inhale, bringing those knees back up to center. Exhale, give them a big squeeze. From here, softly turn over onto one side, using the strength of the arms to softly press yourself up. Beautiful. Come into an easy cross-legged seat, Sukhasana. Sitting up tall here. Beautiful. Let's take a couple of breaths, resting those hands on the knees. Feel yourself tall through the spine. Let's take one more breath here. Beautiful. Blinking those eyes open. Go ahead, uncross the legs and begin to take the legs out into a nice wide V. From here, just allow the ankles to be loose and relaxed. Allow the toes to be relaxed. If it's difficult to sit flat on the floor, you can grab a blanket. Bring it underneath the hips so that the hips are slightly elevated and the pelvis is tipping forward. We're going to come into a yin version of a wide leg forward fold. We'll be in this pose for a few minutes, and rather than focusing on stretching the muscles, we're going to be focusing on stretching the fascial tissue, which is the tissue that surrounds the muscles. And they say it's also where we store our trauma from various physical ailments or accidents that may have happened to us. So this is a very beneficial way to release tension in the body. We're going to begin by sitting up tall and turning the palms face up. Allow the body to softly round. As the spine rounds, gently walk the hands forward. Begin to release the chin towards the chest. Shoulders will roll forward here. Again, toes, feet, and ankles are relaxed, and you may find that those knees begin to gently roll inwards. That's okay. Allow gravity to start to take over. And then with each exhale, perhaps walking those hands forward just a little bit. To allow the yin fold to be very impactful, rather than forcing the body or pushing the muscles to do something that they're not ready to do, we just wait. We wait for those tissues around our muscles to softly open, and when we feel a gentle release, we'll be given our cue in a good time to go deeper. This is an exercise in having patience with the body, and an exercise in having stillness in the mind. Let's drop into the breath. Relaxing the mind in this pose. Smooth, steady breaths here. Embracing the gentle pulling on the backs of the legs. With every breath, allow the body to surrender a little more and a little more. Stay with the breath. Allow the sound of your inhale and exhale to be the gentle soundtrack to this pose. A few more breaths here. Simply melting. Completely let go. Enjoy one more full breath here. Turn the palms onto the earth and inhale softly. Walk the hands back towards the body. Allow the chin to remain heavy to the chest. Once seated upright, softly stack the vertebrae one at a time, allowing the head to be the last thing that rises. Roll the shoulders a few times. Beautiful. Bring those hands underneath those knees and softly guide your feet towards one another, and then very gently shake out the legs. Beautiful. Begin to make your way into a comfortable seat, whatever that means to you, whether it's cross-legged, soles of the feet together. Continue to sit up tall, stacking the vertebrae, and then gently release the right ear to the right shoulder. If this is enough of a stretch, remain here. If you'd like a little more, bring the right hand and softly rest it on the head. We're not pressing. The gentle weight of the hand is more than enough to really lengthen the side of the neck, making sure that that ear is releasing to the shoulder and that we're not tipping the head forward and bringing the chin towards the chest, allowing us to really get into the side of the neck. Let's take a few breaths. Beautiful. Begin to gently release the hand on your inhale, bringing the head up to center. On your exhale, release the left ear to the left shoulder. Again, if this is more than enough of a stretch for you, simply remain here. However, if you would like to deepen the stretch, bring the left hand and gently lay it on the side of the head. The spine remains straight here. The shoulders remain soft down the back. Breathing. Beautiful. Begin to release the hand away and inhale. Softly bring the head back up. Take a breath here. Beautiful. These next two poses will require a block. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use a couple of small books stacked on top of one the other. Go ahead, take that block. Let's place it off to the side of the mat for now, and then begin to make your way back down onto your back. The soles of the feet are going to be on the mat. The knees are going to be pointing up to the sky. Feet walk to hips width apart. Go ahead, grab your block. We're going to press firmly into the soles of the feet until we're able to lift the hips up off the mat. And then you're going to take your block on the lowest level and slide it underneath your low back. Now you want to bring this to the lowest part of your back, the sacrum. So it's that flat space between the base of the spine and the top of the booty. We'll come into a very gentle back bend here. Again, you can have the hands on the belly or release those arms down alongside the body. Breathing here. Allow the low back to release. at any point this becomes too much on your back, you can always remove the block and replace it with a lower yoga block. They come in multiple sizes. Or you can bring a folded blanket underneath the low back for a much more gentle version of this pose. A few more rounds of breath here, surrendering into our back bend and understanding that even though this is a very passive pose, back bends by nature are very invigorating. So know that we're getting a dual purpose with this posture. A few more breaths here. Let's take one more breath here. Beautiful. Begin to firm up those inner ankles. Bring your hands to the low back. Inhale, press into those feet. Lift the hips. Slide the block out of the way. And on an exhale, roll down slowly, one vertebra at a time. Once the sacrum meets the mat, draw the knees into the chest and give them a squeeze. Taking our counter pose for our back bend to make sure the body stays balanced. Let's take another breath here. Beautiful. Begin to release the soles of the feet back down to the mat. Having that block handy, press into the feet, lift those hips one more time, and slide the block right back into that same place, the lowest part of the back, just above the buttocks. And from here, we're going to make our way into a supported shoulder stand. So very slowly begin to bend into one knee and float the foot up to the sky. Whenever you're ready, bend into the other knee and float the foot up to the sky. Relax those arms down alongside the body. If you find the block is too low or too high, simply release those feet down, adjust the block where it needs to be, and float those legs back up to the sky. Shoulder stand is one of the core postures. It is wonderful for circulation and also aids the lymphatic system. Let's take a few breaths here. Staying present with the breath, present with the body. A few more breaths in our supported shoulder stand, really giving the blood the opportunity to drain out of the extremities, back to the heart so that we can pump fresh blood down to the tips of those toes once we release. Now, if you have glaucoma, it's best to avoid these types of inverted poses. If you have questions, you can always ask a doctor. If a pose is potentially harmful for you, let's take one more breath here. Beautiful. Begin to gently bend back into those knees. Softly release the soles of the feet down onto the mat. Plant the feet firmly. Inhale to lift the hips. Exhale to remove the block. Set it off to one side. And again, softly rolling down one vertebra at a time. Once we're completely on the mat, begin to extend those legs out long. Bring your arms down alongside your body, palms facing down. Softly roll over to one side. Slide the entire length of the arm underneath your body and roll back. Roll onto the other side. Slide the other arm under the length of the body. And relax back down. So here we are, laying on the arms, palms face down. Begin to gently press into your forearms, lifting the heart. And then release the crown of the head back. Allow it to graze the earth. Coming into our fish pose, relax the feet. All of the weight is in the hands and the forearms and the elbows. A couple of breaths here, counter pose for our shoulder stand. Beautiful. Press firmly into those forearms. Release the head, tuck the chin. And once we've made it back down flat, remove those arms from underneath you. Beautiful. Bring the hands to the hips. Softly bend into both knees and bring the soles of the feet together. Now, if you've got multiple blocks, you can always prop the thighs up with the block so that you can completely surrender into a reclined butterfly. That's especially helpful if you have tighter hips. Otherwise, we'll come into our final gentle hip opener. Again, resting those hands either on the belly or down alongside the body, whichever feels most natural to you. Softly tuck the chin, lengthen out the back of the body. Relax the shoulders. Exhale, soften into the pose. Few more breaths here. Notice if the mind has wandered. Allow yourself the opportunity to bring your focus back to the body. Let's take one more breath here. begin to bring those hands down to the outsides of the thighs. Bring the thighs together as you walk the feet to hips width apart, flexing the ankles. Softly windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Bringing the knees back up to center. Gather them to the chest. Give them a squeeze. And then releasing those legs long out onto the mat as we come into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Releasing the hands down alongside the body. Again, you can always bend to the knees here. You can also bring a rolled up blanket underneath the knees to relieve tension on the low back. Take a moment here to notice any changes in the body from when you began the practice to when you ended the practice. Perhaps a spaciousness in the low back, an opening in the hips, a softness in the body. Here in Shavasana is our final opportunity to completely surrender. Allow the entire back of your body to melt down into the mat. Allow the entire front of your body to melt down into the back of your body. Relax the muscles of the face. Relax all of the internal organs. Relax the lungs, releasing the breath. And finally, releasing the mind. Allow yourself to completely surrender and rest. If you would like to remain in Shavasana for as long as you need, stay where you are and continue to drift even more deeply with every new sound that enters your consciousness. If you choose to wake, gently wriggle fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, making your way into a long stretch, reaching fingertips overhead and pointing through the toes. Softly exhale over onto one side. Take a moment and take a breath in a fetal position. When you're ready, softly press yourself up to a comfortable seat with the eyes remaining closed. Stacking your vertebrae one by one until the crown of the head rises tall. Taking a breath here. Sealing the palms together in a gesture of gratitude for this practice and for yourself for taking the time to come onto your mat and do something beautiful for your body, your mind, and your spirit. Namaste.